This episode of Vic's Basement is brought to you by EB Games. Support us by buying your video games at EB Games. Welcome to my basement, everybody. Hello, Scott Jones. How are you?
My friend. How good? How are you?
I'm very good.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling great.
It's brisk day here.
It is. It's a little cold. It's a little
ground.
rainy.
We're down in the basement.
Down in the basement in the bunker.
Yeah. In the outside world, but it's really damp in the basement.
We're in our vault.
Yes.
Yes, this is Vault
and you
117.
Do you hear this? Beep, 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 beep. My hustler detector is going off.
Your hustler detector? What do you mean?
Oh,
because a pile of hustlers over there?
I don't know.
Yeah.
You still got hustlers?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Yeah. Well, I'm going to need about 7 minutes to myself. And that's it. We've grossed everybody out. Listen, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Apple sent me one of their new Apple Watches, so I feel really good.
Sleek.
It's you hardly notice it, right? I mean,
I can see it, but they can't see it because you're pointing the Apple Watch towards me.
Right.
Right there.
Beautiful touchscreen display.
You know, the thing I got to tell you is there's this guy who I see all over the place. It's the same guy on the Apple Watch.
Yeah.
He looks so much like you. Yeah, that's you.
Oh, he does this. Right?
He's got a little bit of a wink, I guess.
Especially when I had the blonde in my hair. Yeah. That's what I went. What
happened to that?
It turned to gray, which sucks. But I went to my hairstylist with a picture of Pip-Boy, and I said, "Can you make me look like that?"
Hairstylist? Jesus, people think we're a couple of old ladies. Well, I went to a barber, my friend.
I went to a very masculine barber.
That's
I said,
right.
"Can you make me
look
like this, please?"
But listen, you had a great moment, and I don't know if you're comfortable hearing me talk about this on the show.
Yeah, what's that?
You went to you went to pick up your mail.
Yeah.
And this is the time of year when mail is very interesting.
Yeah.
And I was thinking back to when I first started doing this job, long before I met you and I started working on the show. Back then,
in the 20s,
Tommy was still playing in the Little League.
Yeah. The black and white days.
The black and white
right,
days.
Yeah.
And you know what? The mail, especially in October and November and December. Well,
he's talking about the things that arrive, that couriers and mail people deliver, not mail humans.
No,
not
female and male. Lots of them do.
Okay,
deliver
just to be clear.
But I remember getting FedExes like the pile that you just got, and I
Yeah.
remember just getting one, not a pile, because I wasn't Victor. I'm still not Victor Lucas, but I would get these things, and I think, I never want to do anything else. I just want these FedExes to keep coming, baby. Just rain down upon me. It's a great moment.
Well, this is what our job is. We have to go through all kinds of different products. Well, it's the job. It's the work.
It's not really a hard
It's
job.
not hard work. It's beautiful work.
So easy. It's beautiful work.
It's wonderful work. That's why, I'm 20 years in, knock on wood, I get to keep doing this, and I love it. And we should be grateful that we get to do this stuff. But the work is to go through all of these things, like this Apple Watch, and review them and see if we really like them, and then give them a 7 out of 10, or a 4 out of 10,
4 out of 10,
or a 9 out of 10.
I just want to thank you to FedEx. Thank you to Purolator. Is that a company?
Purolator is one of them. Yeah. But it is interesting now.
Thank you to Apple for these watches.
Yeah, it's interesting though that the change to digital and the codes that we get
a lot of codes now,
mean so much less.
So much less. Yeah, it's true. Like maybe 5 years ago, it was just a steady stream of Purolator.
Yeah.
And if
it's
you're
Purolator, no wonder they're almost out of business. No, they're doing fine. Purolator.
But now it is a series of these codes, and especially the Xbox codes.
Yeah.
They're like 92 characters long, and there's always some squiggle in there that I can't find on my keyboard.
Yeah.
And I sit there, and seriously, especially when I was sick last year, it was so painstaking for me to put, and I'd always get it wrong, and I'd have to put it in again. It's like a 45-minute thing just to put the code in.
Yes.
But it's a video game code, and it's a free video game, and I got to review it, and that's my job somehow.
Yeah, you can't complain about that. But it's a different vibe though when you open something, and I think we've talked about this before, and I think that's why we started the cartridge reviews, which we're going to do some more of pretty soon on the show too, because almost all the big games are out. But that feeling of physical, that feeling of having an object that you can smell and you can touch, that tactility.
Like, I'm a little worried about that.
Yeah, and it's an amazing thing. And getting the packages is part of the sort of joy of it all. The crazy kind of procedural sort of connection to the physical object of this medium is such a wonderful thing that I will miss if it disappears. And that's why the toy table has launched this year as well, because
any opportunity to talk about your beloved toy table.
And then the toy breaks that we used to do here.
Toy breaks.
Because that's our connection to these characters and these objects and these creations, these physicalized versions of these things. You know, if the discs go away, if the instruction books go away, and the steel books and you know, all of the collector's editions, you know, like the manifestations of these characters in toy form or in statue form or in Apple Watch form, just really, really fun.
I know,
you know,
they are fun. And I want to ask you a question though. Do you remember getting any gifts as a kid that really just lit you up?
Yeah.
So do I. I got some, you know, my parents were both alcoholics and they beat me all the time, but they gave me really nice gifts at Christmas.
So much.
I thought this was
well established. Okay,
but
go
listen,
for it.
But I remember like getting those gifts when you're a kid, and I remember once my grandmother gave me this little toy doll, and it was just a mummy, and the mummy's face and its hands would glow in the dark. Yeah. And all the kids got them, but I was just like, oh man, opening this mummy, and now this mummy is mine, and I could get light on it, and then it would stay glowing in the dark. It's such a it's such a stupid toy, but I loved it, and I love getting the gifts. And now I don't really feel like I get good gifts from anybody anymore. But I feel like as an adult, doing the job that you do and that I do, getting these gifts in and opening these games.
Well, not only that,
is incredible.
Not only that, though, the persistence of staying young in our hearts and our minds through this content is wonderful. It's unbelievable. You know, it's life affirming. It's validating passion. It's escapism. It's celebrating imagination, and all of that stuff becomes less and less you know, important, I think, for people as they age and they think about other responsibilities and mortgages and putting their kids through school. Like I feel sometimes great. I always feel gratitude, but I sometimes feel a little bit of guilt because this is the stuff that I concern myself with, is the discussion around this and the connecting with the people that build it and the connecting the people.
You could be talking about the pipeline. You could be talking about politics,
which I am also incredibly passionate about and excited about too. I like all of the you know, discussion around what's really important in the world. You know, in a factual, like, affirming way. Like, I'm very happy with a lot of the political sort of things that have been happening in Canada. Too. I mean, there's been a lot of change even in the short time that our new prime minister has taken office. But I think, you know, I think it's important for us as fans of this stuff to just revel in it, but, you know, be okay with the fact that we get to never age, to be kind of Peter Pans in this art form, in this medium, you know, and when I was young and getting into this as a career,
Did you get a mummy?
No, I didn't get a mummy, but I'll talk about my toys in a second here because that's a great question. But I think I didn't think about the permanence and the longevity and the importance to stay with it and to, you know, not just the age is a number cliche, but just the importance of staying connected to the aspiration to deliver on this imagination. And that also, I think, transposes back to the people that build all of this stuff, because they're not kids anymore either. You know, like Todd Howard is not a kid, and he's making, you know, iterations on themes and game concepts that he's had since his career started. And it's a beautiful thing that he's staying engaged with this. I'm really curious to see what Hideo Kojima and his team that he assembles, what they're going to do. He is also not a kid. You know, Itagaki-san, you know, and that list, you know, Sid Meier, there's a list of these guys that are not children, but they still create things that, you know, tap into that childlike enthusiasm and that childlike, you know, curiosity and wonder that we need to kind of cultivate on a persistent level, you know?
That's a funny transition that we are coming into right now, because the medium, the stuff that we value so much, all those guys are getting older now. Like, it's part of me, and I feel like earlier this year when Iwata died, like, it felt like we're moving into a new era where our people age. You know, it made me worry about Miyamoto. It made me like thinking about these guys going forward, aging, becoming older men.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going through the same thing. I mean, I joke around a lot, but I'm an old man now. I'm an older man now, middle-aged. I'm middle-aged. I admit it here publicly for the first time ever. But how will their approach
if middle age is 27?
That's right.
Right? Okay.
I think it is.
Okay.
But how will aging, how will their perception of the world change the kinds of things they make?
Well,
as we move forward, Even Cliff Bleszinski is an older man now. I remember doing an
and I see
with him.
Adam Sessler's always tweeting about how old he is and his reflexes aren't there.
Start following
and I think all of that stuff is total bullshit. And here is my realization for it, and not just because I'm not a 27-year-old anymore. Surprise, surprise. But my realization on it is all the people that I looked up to when I was conceiving what would become the next 20 years of my life with EP were in this bracket. Harrison Ford and Siskel and Ebert and all of my heroes, the Lucas and Spielberg and everybody else was in this bracket. And I think this is a bracket where you have achieved some success, you've built some things, and you have great aspiration, but you also have a connection to the responsibility of the people that are watching your material, maybe the younger people that are in your life, and you have some perception and some perspective that is still really valuable to people. And I think that's, I take great joy in the fact that we get to, talk about this stuff at this age and in this, in this point in our lives. And I think that it's meaningful to people because they know that we've been around for a while, and I think that's valuable. And I think that, I want to see that persist not just with us, but with other people in editorial and other people that are talking about this kind of medium, whether it's film, whether it's TV, whether it's video games. And I worry that that's not the business that's being built right now. The business is
is built for social media people who are in their late teens and early 20s, and it works for them, and they can make a lot of money doing this. But we have a lot of peers, people, and Vic's not saying this, just I'm saying this, but these people are older now, and it's harder to find work going forward if you're going to stay on the media side of things.
Yeah,
it's just harder. It's kind of gone away. The island's shrunken underneath our feet. There's not as many opportunities as there used to be, and the few opportunities that are left are lower pay opportunities.
Yeah.
So
the video game industry has been engineered to cater to a churn, a sort of age-limited thing where people go into it for a while and then they say, okay, I've got a
Everybody
wife
does.
now, and we've got to go do, or a husband now. I've got to go do
So,
something else, or a
right.
child now.
I got to start earning some real G's.
And that's not just in games, that's in music, that's in movies.
Yep.
And, it's a very real thing. And certainly, journalism and the coverage of all this stuff has completely changed. And that is definitely a topic that we'll be going back to. But I think, and maybe I'm just making peace with my own choices and my own, things that have happened with my very lucky career. I'm very grateful that I get to talk about this stuff, and I have a kid.
I can't believe that we've had the things you've built. Honestly, it's been a crazy. For me, it's only been 15 years, but for you, it's been
20 years. Well, about 21 years.
Yeah,
but,
that's incredible. And today, what did you get in the mail? Call of Duty.
Call of Duty
Came in the mail for Victor Lucas and for me. We're going to review it next week.
Yeah, it's in Tuesday's show, so we're all weekend long. We'll be playing it.
They're doing this on a Friday because the Tuesday is the usual release date.
Well, what's out on Tuesday?
Star Wars.
No.
Fallout. Okay, Fallout comes out on Tuesday.
And poor little Tomb Raider, which
might or might not be playing Fallout already.
Yeah, we're not allowed to talk about the game of Fallout at all.
Tomb Raider is on Tuesday. Why do they do the same as the Fallout weekend?
I don't know, but I did a little Twitter poll yesterday about.
I love your Twitter polls.
Well, they're fun, man. I like to see what people come back with. I asked people what November game they're most excited with. I threw Halo 5 in there, forgetting that it had come out at the end of October. But I think people are playing it for real right now. I put Halo 5, Battlefront, Fallout, and I think one more, I forget, and then other. And I got many responses for Fallout.
Everyone loves Fallout.
Not that many responses for Black Ops 3, which I don't think correlates to the
No,
sales.
even if you love Black Ops,
so
you
that
can't
means,
say publicly that you love
is
Black
that what
Ops.
it is?
You just have to love it privately.
I got to tell you, because I've started to play a little. Started playing a little bit on the PC last night.
I haven't started any. No spoilers.
That's not spoiling. I love Call of Duty. I love the franchise. I don't always love the game, but I love the Call of Duty experience.
What franchise?
I love the franchise. I love the effort and the money and the expense and the energy and the ridiculousness and the. It's like it is Michael Bay. We say this every year. It's like a Michael Bay movie that you live through. But I love that it's carved out that space for itself, you know. And there's so many games that are about nuance and subtlety and storytelling and narrative. They try. They go in that world.
There's a lot of indie games that celebrate those things, but there aren't a lot of mainstream games. Not enough, in fact.
And we talk about that all the time. And this is a franchise that says, you know what? We're just going to be about balls out stupid fun. No. And I like that about Call of Duty.
I don't know. I bet the other way. It's Call of Duty doesn't do it for me. That said, I'm going to try to open my mind or open my heart and participate in the Call of Duty fest that's about to happen.
I don't know if I like this one enough to put that into my favorite.
A lot like the last one, and it'll be like the one next year.
But too. I loved Advanced Warfare. I love that game, and I love the franchise in general. And I know it's not maybe cool to say that anymore about Call of Duty, but I really dig it.
I like who you're being right now.
Okay, but let's talk about my action figure, because you asked about a toy when I was a kid.
Well, not really.
You want to hear it. Now, this is a retro toy break. I don't have you have to imagine this, if you will. Okay,
close my eyes.
There's two.
Close your eyes, because it's easier to imagine.
When I was a kid, Fisher-Price used to make little action figures. And I actually want to build a show about action figures. I want to build a show maybe called Action Figure, because I think there are action figures for a lot of collectors out there that resonate and mean something. It'd be interesting to go into the histories of that stuff and talk to the designers and talk to fans. I just love that idea. But the
did you just pitch a show?
I think I just pitched a show.
All right.
That's the world we live in right now. We do our meetings on live.
Might be on the air before the show's over.
But there was two. Fisher-Price used to make action figures, and they made kind of like a Super Dave Osborne looking figure. If anybody remembers Super Dave Osborne, he was this kind of Spinal Tap-esque, weird, wacko stuntman, in quotations, that always got hammered and killed and crushed. And
he went on to be one of the stars of Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Right.
And he's so fantastic on that show. But I do remember his earlier iteration.
Well, they would try to do stunts with him, and he would always get. It would be a mannequin that would get trampled by something or crushed or killed.
Where's the toy?
A take on Evel Knievel, which was amazing. He was amazing. Yeah, I had a Fisher-Price Evel Knievel-like. It wasn't a licensed thing, but I carried that figure everywhere I went, all the time. It was with me. This little, just this escape into this little, and video games are very much like this, but it was escape into this little toy world with this character that could do everything, right? He was a superhero for me. And I played with this character, this action figure, so much that his head would not stay up anymore, and he had a head that could go down like this, so his head was always perpetually down like this, and I would be playing with the thing, and he would be walking with his head all the way down, but it was still, I loved it so much.
Did you have a name for him?
I don't remember what the name was, but it was very, very utilized in my life as a kid. Okay. And the other big toy remembrance I have is Yoda. When they first made a Yoda figure, after Empire Strikes Back, Sears used to be the big place where you could get your toys, the Sears catalog. Remember the Sears stores? Of course you do. Yeah, of course. Ask your dad.
Too long ago.
But they used to have catalogs, and you would order the stuff, and they would send them to stores. They wouldn't even deliver to your house. There was no Amazon back then or anything like that. Yeah, I had to go to a Sears receptacle store or whatever. But Yoda only came in the Cantina sequence, which doesn't even make sense because Yoda was nothing, right? So you got the Cantina deal with a couple of the other figures, but Yoda.
Some lazy toy people are just like, just put him in
just
the Cantina.
Just throw him in there with his orange snake.
Everyone will love it.
But goddamn, I was so fucking happy when I got my Yoda in this figure, in this Cantina set. I love the Cantina set too. It ended up being a really cool thing for my old Kenner Star Wars figures, but Yoda came with it. I was literally dancing down the street when I was about, 10 or something, or 11. I have Yoda! Oh my God! So one day, maybe I'll recreate my Yoda dance on the show.
Do you remember the Evel Knievel thing where you'd put his motorcycle on the thing and you'd have to wind it up?
Yeah.
Like this?
Yes.
You could feel them, and then you would just like turn him loose and you would just drive like 4 feet.
I'm telling
That'd
you,
be the end
action
of it.
figure the show would be incredible. Remember the old Steve Austin action figure and the Bigfoot action figure? The Bigfoot action figure.
Oh, it's a $6 million man.
Yes, they
Okay.
used to have the
Yeah.
big plastic plate on his chest that would pop out if you punched it in the little button on his belly button, and poof, and then Steve Austin could pick him up. It's amazing. You could look through Steve Austin's eye.
When I was a kid, I had that Steve Austin doll, and you could roll back one of his arms, and it was just like having an uncircumcised penis.
Yeah, very much, yeah.
And you'd
He
roll
had-
it back,
he had,
and that
he had
would
arm
be,
foreskin.
Yeah, it was a foreskin on his left arm, I believe, and inside you could see. Right underneath, he would just have some mechanics.
The circuitry, yeah.
Yeah, circuitry.
That is a franchise that needs to come back. Does anybody else? $6 million
They
man.
tried to bring it
$6
back,
billion.
didn't they?
I know they keep talking about some
They
comedy
tried
version
with
of it, but
the one, what was that other woman? $6 million woman?
yeah, Bionic Woman. Oh, the
Bionic
TV show.
Woman,
You're
yeah.
right.
They
yeah.
tried that, and it didn't work. And
yeah.
let's stop going back there.
That's a
We're having
great idea, though.
No, it's
Especially
not.
now with
It's
all
a
these
terrible
augmentations that
idea.
are
No,
happening, and
forget it.
people have these kinds of things. We have Luke Skywalker hands in real life now. That's a great idea.
No,
and it's
that-
all in Call of Duty too. They have all of these metal arms and things like that.
That's enough Call of Duty reference.
All right.
That's
okay.
it.
It's the day. All right. Okay.
I liked my story about the mummy with the glow-in-the-dark hands.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'm telling you, action figure the show. To ask people if they think if they think a show like that would be fun.
Blake saying no.
They'll tell me in 30 seconds.
Oh, they will in 30 seconds.
I don't need to ask them. You just did.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yes, I did. I just. Oh right, I'm on the show
Blake,
right now. Yeah.
Where am I right now?
Okay, Blake, who is awesome. That should be his middle,
Blake, who is awesome.
right?
That
That
should be his Twitter
his
handle.
gamer tag.
Yeah.
Blake, who is awesome.
My
Sievkin.
voice cracked a little.
Wrote us some things that happened this week because
Yeah,
he
just
needs
go
to
through-
remind us because we can never remember.
The Warcraft trailer came out, and
Yeah.
I watched it just before we started shooting today.
Yeah, pretty.
I like Duncan Jones a lot.
Yeah.
I'm not into Warcraft, and I don't know if I need this movie.
Looks like a high-res trailer
Rings.
for the game,
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
right? It looks like, and those are already amazing CG sequences.
Yeah.
Now we have an even more amazing
It was
CG
filmed
sequence.
here, though.
Yes, it was.
I think right down the street from the studio.
Yeah.
It's very close by, and,
Yep.
and you can see the studio if you squint at the trailer through the trees. It's in there.
I saw The Flash being filmed right near the studio the other day.
Oh.
Yeah, after we saw Spectre, by the way, which the review is out. We can talk about Spectre.
Okay, we'll get to that in a little
Okay.
bit.
BlizzCon 2015 is happening this weekend.
Which one is that? That's where they do...
All the Blizzard stuff.
Okay.
We will have reports on it. We didn't send anybody to it, though. We've had a ton of traveling this fall. And actually, Marissa's in Toronto right now. That's why she's not here. She just did the Rainbow Six tournament thing. She's back next week, though. So we'll find out how that all went. The CVAs, here's another thing that we're traveling for. The CVAs are December 5th, and it's on the 6th in Toronto at the former Maple Leaf Gardens. And I don't know what the name of the place is now, but it's a much bigger venue, and there's a reason for it. The CVAs has partnered with FanFest, which is now going to be a regular component of the Canadian Videogame Awards. That's what the CVA stands for. So please come if you're in Toronto. The ticket gets you access to FanFest and the awards. And one of the things that we are doing as part of FanFest and the CVAs, we're going to announce it on the show next week, but you guys that are watching and listening to the podcast, thank you very much. Get to know first that we are going to, most, if not all, of the EP Daily crew is going to Toronto for that weekend. We are going to shoot our Rocket and Ray Gun Awards on the Saturday, which everybody that comes to FanFest and the CVAs is welcome to watch. It will be right at our booth at FanFest.
Oh, we're in a booth?
Yeah, we got our booth. Our booth will be set
Is
up.
Tommy going to be there?
Maybe, but we are going to be doing the Rocket and Ray Gun Awards. We're also going to be meeting anybody that wants to come up and meet us and say hi. And then we're also going to be doing developer interviews throughout the weekend, which are going to be streamed on the CVA Twitch channel, and presenting awards as well at the CVA Awards. And there's tons of great presenters that are lined up. I know that David Hayter is going to be there. I know that Jennifer Hale is going to be there. Mark Meir, I think, is going to be there. Some familiar faces.
Victor Lucas.
I'm going to be there. Scott Jones is going to be there. Marissa Roberto, Steve Tilley.
When are the CVA awards?
They are on the 6th, December 6th.
Is that a Saturday?
That's a Sunday. So it's December 5th and 6th in Toronto. Tickets are very reasonable, and the cool thing about FanFest and the reason why this was put together is that we wanted to create a better sense of celebrating the industry for the public. So booths are going to be set up. Nintendo and Xbox are going to have a big presence there. PlayStation's going to have a presence there. There's going to be indie developers there from all across the country, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
You think I should get my hair permed?
Get your hair permed, yeah. Please come in your new curly hair perm.
Note to self.
Yeah, make it look like pubic.
Why?
Okay, all right, okay.
Gross, Vic.
Okay, gross.
That's very exciting, though. That's great news.
Well, it's fun because we've been talking about doing the rocket and ray guns in front of people for a long time, so now they can see
It's true, we have
how much the editors help us.
Yeah. So I don't understand. So we're doing Rocket and Ray Gun, we're filming it, and then we're airing it on TV?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the way that we're going to do it is the last week of this season, which is leading up to December 18th. December 18th is the last new episode of season 25, which will also have the Star Wars Episode 7 review of. Every day we're going to do some Rocket and Ray Gun stuff. So we'll probably 2 parts of the show will be Rocket and Ray Gun related, and then there'll be some other content in there too.
That sounds good.
Yeah, so we've got some fun stuff lined up for December. And Toronto, it's going to be cold as hell.
It is going to be cold. We're going to have to wear warm jackets, which no one in Vancouver owns, because this is like a tropical resort in Canada.
I got us all one hotel room that we're all going to share,
all
so
right,
we'll be warm in
so
that.
My body warmth will keep your body warm.
We'll all stack up on top of each other, like Human Centipede, which is one of your favorite movies.
Not on top.
No, that's end to end.
No, I don't want to talk about Human Centipede.
Front to back.
We talk about that damn movie
Every
all
day.
the
No,
time.
we don't.
We talk
mentioned it
about that
once,
more
like a
than
month ago.
toys, and that
Listen,
sucks.
Halloween's
Okay,
over. What did you
all
do
right.
last weekend? Did you dress up?
I did. I was Mario. I took the Mario thing for the run of the
Oh, did
weekend.
you?
Yeah,
Okay,
that was
good.
awesome.
Word around the house?
I wore it around the house. I greeted people that came to my house.
Did you make a poo in the Mario outfit?
No, I did not.
Okay, well, that's
why
for
do we get
next year.
scatological? But I did notice that as I walked down the street, I cheered up at left and right. People were looking out their windows of their houses going, "Hello, Mario."
Are you sure they weren't calling the police?
No, everybody seemed very genuinely happy to see me. It was really awesome.
Strange man.
Mario is powerful, man.
Well, you do an incredible Mario. Your voice is uncanny. You're like that guy Charles Martinet. Do you know who he is?
Yeah, putting him out of business.
Yeah, you really seem to be enjoying yourself last week.
He's such a lovable character. Remember the first time we got those costumes and we went and shot reviews in them and we were out in the street and it was pre-Halloween and I shot a pocket review in the middle of a divider between cars. And the amount of honks and people waving and smiling, and it was really fun, and that was the first kind of realization. It's no wonder Nintendo's making theme parks and
Mario
movies
has
and
given lots of people many good times.
he's just joy, man. He's Christmas,
Yeah,
It's
he is.
amazing.
Yeah, so you had fun as Mario.
I did,
And what
yeah.
did Ruby dress as?
She was the Wicked Witch. My daughter dressed as a Wicked Witch of the East from Wizard of Oz. She's never seen the movie. It's
not the
too
friendly
scary.
one. That's the friendly one?
No, she's the green, scary one that melts in the
one
water.
with the nose.
Right. I think I talked about this, and there's a Lego version of that. So she's played the Lego Dimensions with.
And she got inspired from that.
No, she was already going to be the character because that's my wife's favorite movie, but she also wanted to be a witch, so my wife helped.
You should let her watch it.
She's a bit young.
It's not that scary.
And it is scary with the flying monkeys and stuff. But she was great, and her raison d'etre was to scare the other little girl princesses that were everywhere.
Did it work?
Yeah, and she kept saying, "I'll get you, my pretties, and your little dog too." And it was just so awesome to see her get into it too.
Last weekend,
bunch of hams in my family.
I took my cats to the playground.
Did you?
Yeah,
How was
usual.
that?
Sunday we go there.
Yeah, they freaked out.
I bring peanuts.
Yeah.
And so I let them run and play.
Yeah,
And I just eat peanuts on a bench.
that's awesome. Do your crossword?
Sometimes I do a crossword.
Yeah, good. Eat a muffin.
So I had a good weekend, and you had a good weekend, and we're about to go into another weekend here.
Yeah.
And baseball's over, so there's no baseball to watch.
We only talk
anymore.
about baseball when Marissa's here.
All right, I'm sorry. We'll cross that off.
And baking.
And Animal Crossing and Plants vs. Zombies.
Hold on, there's more on our
what
list
other
here.
news we got?
Okay, J.J. Abrams. It has.
This is a sweet story.
I'm so glad that this happened. The fan that is dying of cancer and his dying wish was to see. I think his name is Daniel. I forget his last name. Has been begging people, and Mark Hamill and John Boyega and others got behind the the internet movement to have Disney show the movie to him before he passes away, which is awful, and heart goes out to the whole family around this guy and this guy. But he's been able to see an early cut of it, and J.J. Abrams called him personally and put all that together. I mean, I think that there's an element of like, how could you not do that?
Yeah, sure.
You know, but also the humanness of doing that is just wonderful, you know. And I think we sometimes forget as consumers of this stuff that it's just people that build all of this, you know. They're just people, and it's good. It's affirming to have.
It is. It's a good story.
Right?
Blake, what do you got?
Well, JJ did the same thing with the last Star Trek movie.
He didn't he? Yeah.
There was a fan who was dying. I don't know what it was, but
That's great. Yeah, it's so sad but you know, that speaks to the power of this content that we consume too, right? Like, this is the stuff that makes life more interesting, you know. And so it doesn't always work, and sometimes we're left scratching our heads about choices and stuff. But you got to try, and you got to try to enjoy it too. I think
the interesting thing about this story, there's a couple interesting things. One is that they would do something so large-hearted. I think that's great. But the other thing is, they're clearly still working on this film. It's not done, even though you think, you know, that it's done, and they've shot it, but they're still frantically editing it. And I guess the way that they do this, it's unfinished. The way that they do this is they just keep working on it until it needs to go out the door. So I love that. And you think of Star Wars as something that's predestined almost. These things arrived wholesale, right? And they're just done.
Like prefab houses.
They're just frantically trying to get this movie together, and they know everybody's going to see it. Everybody already has their tickets. Yeah. And they're still working on a film. Yeah. It's not done.
The international trailer for Star Wars is all over the internet right now too, and I watched it, and was just as blown away as I was from the last trailer.
I didn't watch this one.
I know you're in a wait and see mode. I think that's the healthy way to approach it, and I think that's totally cool. I had a thought though about the names for these characters, because I'm starting to know them now from the
you know too much going on.
I know, but the difficulty of naming these characters with you have to make them indelible. That's the charge you have. Disney goes, look, these are all iconic characters before, you know, and the images, the haircuts, the clothing styles, everything about Luke Skywalker and Han Solo and Princess Leia and Chewbacca and C-3PO and Darth Vader, they all connected and resonated forever. So now, team, you know, and it's Kasdan and Abrams and the whatever the marketing departments and everybody else that's involved, make Kylo Ren and Poe and Finn and Rey matter forever. And like, I say those names now and they mean nothing to me, you know? Nothing. And I look at those character images.
It might not mean any more to you on December 18th either.
I know, and I look at those images and I'm intrigued by the actors, and I love all the behind the scenes Instagram account stuff, and they look like real fantastic people that are really genuinely excited about the work that's going into this. But they mean nothing to me. And it's, you know, I don't know if I had seen all of this social media stuff around Luke and Han and Leia if I would have cared back then. But it's hard not to compare. You know, it's hard not to think of those other things and go, well, I don't know, I don't like this guy as much as Luke Skywalker.
The thing is, just like Luke Skywalker and Han Solo and Princess Leia Organa, is that her whole name?
Yeah.
If the movies weren't amazing, I don't think, I mean, those names all were so foreign to all of us when we first heard them. We're just like, wow, there's a character named Han Solo? What does that mean? I mean, now it all makes sense because we've had those names and that kind of aesthetic in our heads for 30 years. But it took a while for us to get used to that. Yeah. And George, again, all the credit to these great people.
It only took the first screening of Star Wars Episode 4 to fall in love with all those people, though. You know? Like, I never fell in love with Anakin Skywalker, portrayed by Hayden Christensen.
Well, if anything, I fell more out of love with Darth Vader after seeing those godforsaken prequels.
And, you know,
like, he means
and Jake
less
Lloyd.
Than he ever meant.
Totally. Jar Jar, hated him. Qui-Gon Jinn, I think maybe was one of the best. Let me put this question to you: What was the most memorable or your favorite character from episodes 1 through 3?
I don't want to. Those.
They didn't all like. The movies sucked, yes, but every choice in those 3 wasn't bad. What was your favorite?
Was
No,
they were.
not like.
What was good? Even Samuel Jackson, I just feel bad for. Mace Windu, like what a terrible name.
Was there
character.
was there anything? Jango Fett.
No.
Darth Maul.
If anything,
The pod race.
Any little bit where they kind of piled more on top of these almost mythological creatures, any extra bit of information made them matter less to me.
You're saying midichlorian.
In the rearview mirror.
Midichlorian.
Yeah, I don't care. I
And
didn't
the
even
rocket
think about
boots
that.
on
Yeah.
R2D2.
Like all of it's
Boy,
stupid.
they have so much shit to solve and save with these new contents.
Star Wars Episode 7, Solve and Save.
Well, they did with,
Episode
I
8.
think with the Clone Wars animated.
Yeah, 7.
They made a huge difference. And Rebels is fantastic as well.
care.
And it's salvageable. Even the games, even the
I love you.
even the clone games. What was the LucasArts squad-based clone game? That was fantastic.
You know, it's easy to.
We did the Jade interview. I forget the name of Clones of the Republic. I can't remember. There's so many titles. And the Force
easy
Unleashed.
to make up these names though. That's a fun thing. Like I could come up with Poe.
Finn, Rey, and Poe seem so
Yeah, I could
slight
do that.
though,
Like,
don't they?
I got
they
one.
don't have the like.
Here's a.
Luke Skywalker is a fucking name.
How about this one?
Han Solo is a name.
How about Bingo?
Bingo Solo. Bingo Walalula.
Yeah.
Some of the new characters might have those last names.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
Yes, I know.
Anyway, I don't even want to listen to these conversations. I'm so tired.
You don't want to talk
about it.
Okay,
like we're just speculating about this goddamn thing.
I know.
He's
Let's
gonna see it in like 3 weeks. We're gonna see it in 4 weeks. What's the big deal?
I can't wait to see it. I'm getting more and more amped up.
All I'm gonna do is lock the door, draw the blinds, and play The Force Unleashed again.
After you see this movie.
And again.
I think.
No, before I see it.
Okay. But I'm going to answer my own question about what, and I want everybody to answer this question, whether you watch this on YouTube or iTunes or EPN.TV or Stitcher or whatever, we'll find it. I'm very curious. Your favorite idea and or character from episodes 1 through 3.
I don't understand.
And I've got mine. You ready?
I don't
you
wanna
ready?
hear it. Yeah, sure.
Well, there's 2 because.
How about if you could see Yoda as a young Yoda, but he can fight with a lightsaber?
I
now?
loved all that. That was actually really cool.
Stupid.
But here's what.
Well, it was. You want to see a young Obi-Wan? Well, stupid.
I loved Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan. He was
Why?
excellent. He was excellent.
Terrible.
I loved him. He was great,
Awful.
and he did a great job.
Wretched.
I also think that.
I feel like we have this fight every week.
I know, but I also feel that Qui-Gon, what's his name again? Liam
Qui-Gon
Neeson.
Jinn.
I think he was a little bit sabotaged as well. I think he was pretty cool as a father figure. But my favorite thing was Grievous. I really loved General Grievous. I love that idea of an organic robot thing. Blake's shaking his head. He fucking has less respect for me right now than he's ever had before.
It's pretty low.
Yeah.
I don't respect the prequel.
I like Grievous. I think that character was cool. I liked his breathing. I liked his tenacity. I liked that he just claimed the Jedi lightsabers. I thought that was a really great
I
idea.
think we all had a moment when we were trying to find something to love.
And of course, the king of the Jar Jars was awesome too.
No, but
whatever
that
his
all-
name was.
That guy was stupid.
No,
they
it was
were all
terrible.
stupid. But you know what? The thing is, I spent so much time trying so hard and putting so much of my heart, and this was back when I still had heart to give,
Yeah,
into trying to love Darth Maul.
he was cool. His
You know
fighting
what?
was cool.
Fuck all those guys.
Yeah.
It was awful.
I want to meet.
Wretched.
I want to meet the guy that played the king of the Jar Jars at a convention one day.
Okay, you can get your photo with him. It costs $45. Maybe at FanFest or whatever that thing's called.
I played the king
Blake,
of
what
the
do you
Jar
got?
Jars.
I feel like you want to say something.
Oh no, I'm fine. I just want to say that there's nothing good about the prequels.
And Watto.
Nothing.
Watto was good too. I liked Watto.
I hate
He was a little racist, but
Everything
I liked Watto.
every single one of the characters.
I don't even mind racism as long as it's a textured, vital, vibrant, alive world.
Remember
None
the-
of it was alive.
Remember the cartoon 1950s diner robot that was balanced on one wheel and it just looks so preposterous?
Why are we talking
I
about
don't.
this?
Sorry, guys.
Is that in the new one?
No, that was in
Is that-
episode 1 or 2
Is that
or
Apple
something.
Watch comfortable?
It's a little heavier than I thought from the marketing, but
What is that one thing on the bottom? Can you unplug that and plug it in?
I
pretty
think
cool.
that's how I vape. Okay.
Are you vaping again?
I've just started vaping.
An intervention last week.
Okay.
You weren't doing it anymore.
All right.
That's enough Star Wars talk for the day. There's
all right.
a new trailer.
Let's talk about Candy Crush.
That's it. Candy Crush. This is stupid. No, I mean, come on. Like, it's so.
You know what? You remember how the King was trying to trademark Crush for their games?
Yeah.
Or it could have been Candy. Either one. It's so stupid that they did that.
Trademark candy.
Candy. You should trademark stupid.
Stupid.
Okay? All right. No, but Activision bought...
5.3 billion.
I think 5.9. I think it's closer to $6 billion. And here's something to put in perspective, okay?
I wonder if Notch feels humbled somehow.
It's 5.9 billion.
Yeah, that's what I said. But here's something to put that in perspective, okay? And we're going to float right back into Star Wars territory again.
Come on, Vic.
Disney bought Lucas and all the rights to Star Wars and Indiana Jones and everything that Lucasfilm has created for $4 billion.
Yep.
Activision bought a
candy game.
fucking mobile game. One game, really, because they have other types of games.
Ben pointed this out, but you remember the Draw Something controversy from a few years ago? I forget who bought that. That wasn't PopCap.
That was Facebook.
It was a game.
No, it was not
You
Facebook.
The come on.
Yeah.
Anyway, that game.
The Farmville guys.
Yeah,
What's that company? I forget that. Yeah. Yeah.
But we were all playing. I remember Ben was the one who introduced me to Draw Something, and we were playing it frantically for like a week. And then this company that Blake's looking up, they paid a ridiculous amount of money for it.
They did.
And then it went away.
Yeah.
And now it's Ghostware.
This is the one that Matrick went to go and run.
The company is OMG Pop.
That's what they made Draw Something.
And they were bought by Zynga.
Zynga, right. Zynga. See, we can't even remember Zynga's name.
So stupid!
They were making so much money, and they were the top of the mobile space and the social gaming, and we can't even remember. That's exactly what's going to happen to this Candy Crush. Those guys made off like bandits.
They did.
Hats off to them.
Yeah,
they're all living in Ibiza, and
That's right.
they're drinking off of models.
They're doing whatever they want.
Whatever.
And they're building robot sex bots and whatever, and they're having fun. But the thing is,
Apple Watches. Everybody's got an Apple Watch.
One around the penis, one on their arm.
They do, yeah.
But the thing is, it's like when I was in the hospital last year. I'm sorry, I'm bringing this up a lot today. No, actually, I'm not.
Were you
just
thinking
talking about Star Wars every 5 seconds.
Okay.
There was a woman in the bed across from me. She was very old, and her daughter would visit her every day and just stay with her from the morning to the night. And she would just sit there, and I could hear her playing fucking Candy Crush all day long. And I knew she was just like lining up like turnips and fruit.
I hate it.
But everybody plays
I was on a plane once, and every
loves it.
seat had Candy Crush going on their phone. So, yeah, I get why they bought this stupid company and this stupid franchise.
What does it mean, though? Like, what's the long tail on it? Why do you
pay
$5.9 billion for it?
Well, I don't know.
We're not businessmen. We're not supposed to
They're going to take all of their brand. They're number one in every category. So they're making tons of money. And I just professed my love for Call of Duty. I have huge respect for Blizzard. I loved Guitar Hero Live. Activision is doing smart things. And I think they're going to do something tremendously successful with this. But it blows me away that it costs more than Star Wars and Indiana Jones and everything else that company has crafted for us over 40 years.
Remember a couple years ago?
Unbelievable.
When you were like 22?
Yep.
$1 million was a lot of money.
Yeah.
Now $1 billion pushed around
Marvel
all the time.
In the 90s, maybe even early 2000s, could have been bought for $100 million.
Mm-hmm.
It's
peanuts.
Everything that Marvel had crafted. Everything. And the rights to everything, everywhere, for $100 million.
$100 million.
And Disney paid less for Marvel as well as, oh my God, probably bought Marvel and Lucas for the amount of money that Candy Crush has been bought by. Oh my, that just does that bum you out?
Let's move on.
Oh my God, it's terrible.
That's the end of it.
Okay, and we blocked Candy Crush from ever being discussed on this show ever, right?
Well, somehow it came up today, and now it's here.
Damn it. Okay,
we're gonna have to call an exorcist.
Deadpool is pansexual in the new movie. Blake, are you trying to tell us something? What's happening?
No,
here?
I didn't make that
Are
up.
you coming out? What's happening?
The director of the Deadpool movie said in an interview recently.
Yeah.
It feels like they're trying to manufacture a controversy, but he said that Deadpool in the movie is pansexual, and the comic creators have said as much too.
Yeah.
Because there's been moments where.
But what is pansexual, guys?
It means that you're not bisexual. It's kind of like bisexual, but you're basically you like everything.
Okay.
So there's
you're
only
into-
two options:
so-
is men and
But
women.
you're into like every fetish and
Everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're into anything that anybody can throw at you. Basically.
I don't think I'm pansexual.
I don't think I am either.
Yeah, I don't know what it means.
But Deadpool. Well, it means
Are you into anything?
it basically means that Deadpool would fuck anybody and anything anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what that would.
I'm
that's
into
what-
Fallout right now.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well,
I mean,
Fallout 3?
Fallout 3.
Yeah, Fallout 3 is really good. They are making a new movie based on The Witcher.
I don't care.
There was already a 2001 Polish film called The
that's it.
Hexer, based
That's
on the
what-
same book series.
He's fired from the news. What is this?
A movie based on The Witcher. That's a good thing. That's Project Red.
I still haven't
CD
played The
Red.
Witcher. I'm
It's
too
weird-
busy
weird name
playing
for a
Fallout
studio.
3 again.
Yeah.
Can we go back to Candy Crush?
No. Fallout 4 hype and silly review embargoes. I don't know. I mean, they're trying to police.
No, but they had an embargo on the embargo.
Yeah.
Like they told you can't even say when the embargo lifts until a certain day, which is kind of silly.
Who cares? You know, I don't envy. Here's the way I
like
see
they're
it.
trying to manufacture
No, here's the way I see it from the publisher's viewpoint. Okay, we're in the days of everybody's got a YouTube channel, and I love that people do. That's fantastic.
Except me.
Well, everybody's talking about games in a million different ways. On the publisher side, the requests must be obscene, and filtering through the amount of noise to figure out who should get an early copy of something.
Not just noise, the selfishness.
Well,
too.
and then the follow-up when people do reveal that they have something that, you know, and I'm not just trying to be entitled and say that we have a legitimate thing and, you know, too bad for it. It's not even about that. It's just the amount of like, there's a ceiling on the amount of stress that these folks can have as they're preparing to get this thing out there.
What's the big deal, though? Just like, who cares if you have it? Who cares if you have an opinion about it? The game is coming out in a couple days. Why try to keep the clamp down on everybody?
Well,
like,
we
what's
talked
the point?
about the other ceiling on the actual employment or the amount of dollars that people can make in this space talking about this stuff. The appeal and the hook of getting early code or getting a game for free is a very, very, big deal. It still is. I mean, we can be in this business for as long as we have and still be excited about the fact that part of the job is we get a copy of the game for free. You know, that's a really great perk. And because we love this industry. And I think that is the only thing that keeps a lot of people doing this stuff. And they don't want to be denied because they have an audience. They built their own audience. But on the other side of it, the people that dole out this stuff, they've got a couple of real issues. They have an allotment, and they are worried about piracy. And they don't have the time to filter every single voice that says, I want one too. So when people are complaining about the embargoes, I understand that there are some silly rules and some frustrations about it, but I don't envy the people that have to decide who gets what. You know, it's a crazy time right now.
I love you, but that's the end of that.
Okay.
Listen, I just want to put this on the table. You don't have to answer it now.
Yeah.
But game of the year.
Yeah.
I have two games that are fighting.
Is one of them Mario Kart 8?
No, that was from last year.
Okay.
But I have
we
two
know
games.
who's going to get your game of the year. Just
I have
like
two games.
People probably think they know what game I'm going to give for game of the year.
Shut up.
All right?
You're wrong.
We
And
know.
I know how you are with your
It's
game of the
Yokai
year.
Watch is going to be your
Yokai
game
Watch,
of the
well,
year. We know.
You know what? I'm just gonna. That's such a strong contender that it won this year and next year.
It's a really great game, actually. Marissa and I just reviewed it. It's in today's show, and I did not expect to enjoy that game, and I had a lot of fun playing that game.
It's
I'm still
going
having
crazy
a
in
lot
Japan.
of fun.
Everybody loves
It's
it.
a really cool game. It's like Pokemon, but it's not, and they did some great mechanics with the touchscreen to keep you kind of engaged during the battles. And
That's Yokai Watch, not Bloodborne. You're talking
Yokai Watch, yeah, it's really fun. If you're thinking about it and you love that kind of game, I think you're gonna have a blast with it.
Is that Bloodborne?
Bloodborne does not play on the 3DS currently. From should make a 3DS game though. I think they should make a Souls type game for 3DS.
In my mind, I'm playing it on every platform.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know. I've gotten so much enjoyment from that world.
Okay. All right, well, let's talk about Spectre now because it is out. Everybody
I
can
gotta
see
tell you
it.
this, my friend.
You didn't talk about the top item on that list.
The Vita.
No.
Sony's still making
Star
video
Trek
games.
TV show officially announced. We
Oh,
have
that
we
one.
had for those that don't know, Blake, who is awesome.
Blake, would you like to
Chiefkin,
say a few words about this?
is
Okay.
is the world's largest Star Trek fan every day.
You mean the best, most endowed,
Longest
penis,
longest and
It's like
thickest.
4 feet long.
And it's okay. But every day we spend hours with our hair and our powder puff makeup before we're on worldwide international shows like this.
Right, that's right.
But Blake spends the same amount of time with his Vulcan ears, even though he's not on camera, every day,
Just getting it right.
putting the Vulcan ears perfectly so he can come in, because on his world he is known as
The huge cock Star Wars
he's
fan.
Star Trek, but
Star Trek.
he's
Sorry, buddy,
just
sorry.
known as Blake, but he loves Star Trek so much,
So it's going to TV.
and the other thing about Blake, rare smiles,
Yeah.
but now it's coming back.
Also, he was
to
driving
TV.
earlier. He drives like a mofo. Like, were we leaving a bank robbery? What were we doing?
Well, he had the douchebag magnet on the top of the
Well, he
car,
kept
so
saying,
we had
"I'm behind
all
this guy now, I'm
all the
behind this
douchebags
guy."
came to our car. It was nuts. But Star Trek is coming back as a TV show.
Yeah, that's exciting.
It is exciting, and I made the very smart comment about the fact that we need more great science fiction that is about. You got to back me up on that, by the way. It was a
Sure,
smart
more
comment.
great science fiction.
Okay, no, but we need more positive science fiction out there. Stuff
Do we?
that tells us that the world won't be
Like what, Martian?
a nuclear.
I like The Martian.
The Martian was incredible. Yeah.
Well, that's science fiction. Is that the kind
No,
of
but on
science fiction
television.
you're talking about?
Yes, that's more kind of about humanity and whatever other alien societies that we meet out there, kind of working together to solve a lot of interplanetary issues and sure there will be action bits and stuff like that. But Star Trek existed as something to aspire to, and it was I think a huge influence on a lot of scientists and a lot of people getting into astronomy and into the idea of space travel and space exploration. And I think we need to go back to that a little bit, not just as and it's happening. I mean, I can't believe the amount of new stuff that's percolating every day that's sort of NASA related and everything like that. But I think science fiction that shows us that it doesn't necessarily need to be about a future where it's all wasteland or floating cities or whatever that
Post-apocalyptic.
yeah that the future can be cool and we can solve this stuff. I think that'd be great.
Yeah. That's interesting. I don't know. I feel like there's so much science fiction now.
Yeah.
I feel like there's so many movies, so many TV shows centered around some sort of future version of us. Mm-hmm. And again, I don't want to bring it up, but we have George to thank for that. Thanks, George.
George Lucas.
Yeah. I do, for sure. I mean, I feel like the huge growth of nerd passion that we have is traceable back to 1977. For sure. Star Trek predates that by what, maybe 7 or 8 years? Probably in the
10
late
years.
60s?
12 years, yeah.
12 years. But it certainly never reached that critical mass that they reached with Star Wars.
Yeah, well, it was an episodic kind of take on the atomic age science fiction that was in the movie theaters, the B cinema type stuff. They said, okay, we can come up with something that will be a little more complex and about people, and they didn't have the budgets to do lots of great special effects. So
Star Wars is a very hopeful story.
Yeah, it is.
Very
Absolutely.
hopeful.
Yeah, and that's also rooted in that sort of serialized, B-movie type kind of vibe as well. Star Trek was the more intellectual kind of slant on it, but still accessible. And I think that's the wonderful potential now of this new series. And Battlestar I think fits in there too. Even the Glenn Larson show from the 80s had some merit. But certainly the Ronald D. Moore take on it was unbelievable. But that went so dark, and it was so.
Yeah, I stopped watching it.
But it was important, and the ending was incredible. And I think it was a great, bookend to maybe the scientific hopefulness or the emotional hopefulness that Star Wars and Star Trek offer. This was a more meditative, like we're going to get through this conflict with technology. ultimately hopeful, but definitely super dour
It's
along the way.
It's a question of what society needs, what our culture needs at this moment in time.
Right.
And sometimes entertainments come along and they're the right entertainment for this moment
Absolutely.
in particular. And
Yeah.
I feel like Star Wars, for some bizarre reason, was the right movie at exactly the right moment. If it had come out 2 years earlier or 2 years later, it might not have worked in the way that it did.
Yeah.
But it was the right movie for the right moment. Will these new movies, are they going to give us information that are the right movies for the right moment? I don't know. That's a huge long shot.
We need fantasy, man. We need it. We need to dream. That's what we've been talking about for this whole hour. But let's talk about a dream that's persisted for more than 50 years, and that's this British super spy idea of James Bond.
I forgot we're going to talk about James Bond.
And Spectre's out.
I was surprised you were a little lukewarm on it.
Well, I gave it an 8. I really
high.
liked it. I really did enjoy myself.
If you really like something, though, 9.
No, if I love something, it's a 9, and if it's outstanding, peerless,
11.
Absolute achievement of incredible stuff, it's probably an Arkham game. But I really enjoyed Spectre, but we talk about this in the review. You can feel Craig and Sam Mendes, the director, buckling under the weight of franchise.
I think you did for sure, but I didn't pick up on that during the movie. All I just picked up on was that I was kind of having an unpleasant experience.
A lot of hate for it. There's a lot of people that are.
I didn't feel hate, but I just felt the cold indifference that I felt towards all of the Daniel Craig Bond movies, except for the first one, which was great. But I just didn't feel like I was learning anything new or essential about him.
I want to watch them all again.
Why?
I do. I mean, I do.
How much time do you have?
I've like
we only
Skyfall
live about
underwhelmed.
100 years if we're lucky.
I know, but this is my world, brother. I've loved the James Bond movies forever. They meant a lot to me. They were things that I discovered. The first one I saw was Spy Who Loved Me, and I loved that movie, and I loved all most of the Connerys. But
there's been a lot of really bad ones.
I really like Skyfall as well. I don't know if I like Skyfall. I think I like them about the same. Maybe 8.5 for Skyfall.
Okay.
But Spectre, I think, was... it's not only a movie that's at odds with its creative leaders and them trying to make something that resonates for a modern audience, but it also, I think, shows that there's real danger of this property being irrelevant forever, and more so than ever before. Because Skyfall was the highest-grossing Bond movie ever, and I don't know if Spectre's going to do that well, but it is, I don't think, as free-form. I don't think they had as much joy making this one as they had making Skyfall, and I mean in terms of like a creative joy.
I did the reviews. The review aired today.
Yeah. Well,
I only gave it 1 glowing mummy hand out of 10, so that's my score.
But I loved the Christoph Waltz stuff, and I loved the team work stuff that's in the movie. I know that didn't matter to you too much because it starts to veer into Mission Impossible.
The villain, because I was watching the Christoph Waltz stuff, and I thought, boy, Bond villains have really come a long way since they just had 3 nipples.
Yeah.
Like, this is quite an advancement, because there is a sinister ism about him. I mean, every character Christoph Waltz plays has that kind of sinister ism. But I had a lunch with a friend yesterday, and she said, "Have you seen the new Bond film? What's it called? Spectre?" I was like, oh. And she didn't mean it, but she just wasn't thinking. She just couldn't remember what it was called. And Spectre, it's about right.
No, come on. It's an amazing thing that Spectre is back. Now, there's a backstory to this whole thing with Spectre, right? And
I mean, a backstory that you care about.
No, it's cool if you're a Bond aficionado, and that's I think that there are less and less of us out there. But Spectre was something that the filmmakers could not use. They could not reference it from the time that I think it was Kevin McClory had the rights to Spectre, and a lot of the.
You should save this for your other podcast.
No, come on, this is cool. And it all happened from the rights entanglement with the movie Thunderball from the '60s.
Should people go see this or not?
Yes, they should. Especially, yes, it's entertaining as hell. And the thing about the movie is that it's not perfect all the way. There's problems along all the way, but there is a sort of middle point where it's like, oh, this is cool, and it's It's a...
You find that middle point in every movie.
No, but this one, totally I don't. Absolutely I don't. I see a lot of movies that I have a problem with all the way through.
Just breaking your balls.
But this was fun.
I'm glad you
but
liked
it takes a long time to kind of be fun. But then it has some pretty cool highs.
He just looks so miserable.
He does. And
he looks miserable. He's
does.
Well dressed,
and
he's got a frown on the whole time. He has no joy, even when he's pleasuring the most beautiful women in the world expertly. He's read all the sex books. He knows how to do it. Go in, go fast, go slow. Now fast again.
But there's none of that. It's all so tepid and T-rated.
And the woman he's having sex with looks like she's about 18.
Oh,
she looks less than that, but I didn't want to say it because it sounds too lurid. But it looks lurid to me.
She's 30.
She's the daughter of a friend of his, like a colleague that's his peer, but she's the daughter.
Not a friend, but a daughter of somebody.
Maybe an enemy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. She seems way too young for him.
Well, it's part of the misogynistic sort of routine, you know?
I thought we'd grown out of that a little bit.
It doesn't help the movie that Daniel Craig's very public announcements about how much he doesn't give a crap about this series anymore all sort of lead into going to see it.
This movie felt like such a huge enterprise to try to make.
I know, and you can see it on his face. It's just like, get it over with. Get it over
it's
with.
Unpleasant. I don't think he's having fun. I don't know what Bond had fun before him. Like, who had fun? Who's the last Bond to have fun?
I think they all have fun, and then they become. Roger Moore had tons of fun. I think Brosnan had fun. I think what happens is they come out, they reboot, they start with a fresh thing, and it's very exciting for that person. And then they start to grind on the people. I think Roger Moore, when you look at his movies, they're not the best ones. But he was the most consistent, I think, out of the Bonds. You know, like he was one that delivered a sort of quippy, goofy. He's way too out of shape and too old to be this super spy thing. But he was charming, and he was having and he was having a good time. And every one of the movies is kind of goofy and silly, especially Moonraker. But they're all kind of endearing. It went too long. He was the one. I think he did 7 James Bond movies. He went on too long. Yeah. But they were all like. Live and Let Die was fun. The Man with the Golden Gun was fun. Spy Who Loved Me was a really good one.
I don't know why you still like this guy.
They're fun, man. They
are.
I
don't think they're
that
fun.
I think it's time to reinvent, reboot. I think they should go younger.
Rebooted like 4 years ago.
No, it's time again, and give it another 3 or 4 years, and go for a younger Bond, and maybe go period. Maybe go with a 60s thing and make it about the Cold War again. But let us embrace the idea. Let's not try to modernize it and make him like a real agent, because honestly, I think Mission Impossible or the Bourne movies do a better job at kind of approximating, or the 24 shows, or Homeland, at approximating what a modern day secret agent would live and look like than anything that James Bond represents now, So, it really is a catalog for consumerism, every one of these films, right? And they have to maintain that aesthetic every time, and that's exhausting, and I think it off-putting for a modern audience.
The same way that I struggle with Superman, I don't know how he's relevant at all or why we still need him, and I know you disagree.
Yeah, I do.
I know you do, but I don't know why we still need James Bond. I don't know why he's not really relevant anymore. He was very necessary a while ago, but he's not really necessary anymore. We need more modern, more forward-thinking narratives. We need more modern, more forward-thinking heroes.
Here's the same thing that I
don't want to have this argument.
No, here's the same thing that I was going to say about Bond that I say about Lara Croft, is that they have for too long been too independent, and too much of the weight of the success of the property that they're in is based on that one character, and every other aspect of it is pretty superficial.
You're complaining about the Tomb Raider not having any other characters.
I can't. Let's not spoil. But
but I can't talk about anything today.
Well, we're too early. But I do feel, and this is even historical, I think that if these things will become more resonant and more relevant going forward, they need to populate with other characters that are just as embodied.
Why can't we just make up some new characters?
Because the core roots of these characters are fascinating and interesting and grounded.
Maybe
with.
They're just old and moldy, and we need to throw them away.
I disagree. I think there's a reason why we're making superhero movies based on 50-year-old characters. Where we've got Han Solo and Luke Skywalker and Princess Leia in a new Star Wars. There's a reason. There's emotional hooks. Ridley Scott is making a new alien movie
this weekend. Vic says see it. But
see Spectre.
I don't see Spectre.
Don't see Spectre. Unless it's someone you love. But see Spectre.
Which reminds us, it is time to get your sphincter checked,
hey,
everyone.
Any questions? Do we have rapid fire?
Let's do a quick thing.
I have a few, but I don't think we're going to have time to get to them.
Okay.
Because we're going to run out of tape? 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's ask us 2 questions.
Okay, well, Kyle wanted to know if you're doing the Extra Life charity this weekend?
No.
Which is happening this weekend?
No, I will support one, but yeah, I am going to be out with my family this weekend.
I'm going to shop and run the vacuum and take my cats to the park.
Okay. I think that will happen when we are less busy with November production.
Your November is coming in nicely. Vic's growing a beard. No, that's just a mustache.
That's my mustache.
Okay.
Good question, though, Kyle.
Good one, Kyle.
Let's support other extra lifers.
So what are we watching and playing this weekend?
What are we watching and playing? Call of Duty. I'll be playing the heck out of that.
I'm playing other games that I can't talk about.
Yes. And I'll be getting caught up on Arrow, Flash, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and Gotham. And I'm all caught up on Supergirl. What are you going to be watching?
I've been really into this show called Mindy Project. I've been watching that. Mindy Kaling?
All right, she's cool.
I don't know. Season 2 is really good. Season 1 I didn't think was very good, but Season 2 it really seems like it's kind of found its.
Is she bulletproof? Can she fly?
She's just a lady.
Does she have arrows?
Who's a fake
super speed?
She's a fake gynecologist. And she's just trying to do her life, man.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
See you next week. Stitcher. Vic's Basement would like to thank its sponsors: EB Games, Nintendo, Xbox, and Gameloft, makers of Dragon Mania Legends, which you can play for free right now.